Hello, this is Stephen again, and Happy New Year! 2015 will be my second year in metal detecting, and I just wanted to thank everybody who's helped me with my hobby. I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. One of the common questions I keep getting, and I've already made a video on one particular area to answer this, is how can I get permission? I keep getting no's of farmers. Do I send letters? Do I make telephone calls? Do I visit in person? And when I do visit in person, I just keep getting no's. I never get replies to my letters, and on the phone I can hardly ever catch them. To be honest with you, you can only ever really get permission in person. I have done it on the phone with one of my biggest permissions, 1100 acres, and it was a complete fluke. He had the time, I caught him in, he listened to me, I sent him some credentials. It wasn't a straightforward yes. We emailed, exchanged some ideas and some agreements, and we worked within the confines of those agreements even now. So I always would recommend that you go and speak to a farmer direct. In the summer months it's easier when you see them in the fields, because one of the biggest problems is finding somebody who actually owns the land that you want to detect on. It's not always a neighbouring house with tenancies and things like this. The farmer can be a long way away, even in a different county in some cases I've noticed. But assuming that you know where the farmer is on a particular piece of land and you've got the opportunity to go and talk to him directly, that is the way that you should do it. So let me give you my top 7 ideas on getting permission. I sat down a couple of nights ago and I put these notes down to think, how can I best help people or advise people in the future? And when they ask me how to get permission, I've already got a video which covers the subject, so I can just refer them to the video. So here we are. My first tip, number 1, is do what I do. Detect for a charitable purpose, and that gives you an edge into a conversation to do with charity first rather than metal detecting. Now I'm going to put a link in the description, because I've covered this before, where you can see my shortened video, the short version of my video on joining a charity. Now I metal detect for Cancer Research UK. I sell some of the coins, 30 silver coins I sold in 2014. Some of my rewards from my 2 treasure troves went into that. Some people came with me as a guest dig on my land, and they put a guest dig fee for the day into my charity account. I've had other people raise money, metal detectorists raise money for me, clubs put a proportion into the fund. So that's a really good way to get permission. So watch the video, it's only 6 or 7 minutes, and that will tell you how you can get involved in charity fundraising, and that will help you get permission. Number 2, quite seriously, take a lady with you. A female asking for permission is much more likely to be successful than a male. So on a couple of occasions I have driven up as I've passed a farmer, seen a farmer, pulled in, and I happen to have my wife with me. The appearance just comes over a little better than somebody going up in scruffy hat, camouflage, with a detector and a spade in your hand. So if you're going to do it on a one-to-one, number 2 is take a lady with you. It does help, really. Number 3, I have actually got a full permission of 600 acres purely by asking for a single day permission. I happened to be in the area, I caught the farmer eventually, I knew the history of that area was pretty good, so I knocked on the door. I was there for about an hour. They wanted to do a lot of talking with me. I showed them some of my finds and my various bits and pieces of documentation and my insurance and things. And I ended up getting a 1-day permission. At the end of the day, I went back, I gave them a Roman coin I'd found and a piece of Georgian brooch and a buckle. And another 15 minutes later, they gave me permanent permission. So sometimes it's easier just to go out and ask for a single day permission, and you'll show them what you find, if anything, at the end of the day. Number 4, you can offer to pay a small fee each time you go. A tenner or something like that. That occasionally works. My tip number 5. Speak to everybody that you know. Not necessarily farmers. That's good if you do know somebody who's a farmer. But if you don't know a farmer, you may well know somebody who does know a farmer or landowner. Get the farmer's name, obviously their address, and pay them a visit, and make sure when you go and see them, you address them by their name and say, our mutual friend Joe Bloggs suggested that I should come and talk to you as you might be able to help me. So you're using a third-party referral, and you're using the name of the third party who referred you, who is obviously a mutual friend, and you're addressing them by their name. That gets their attention, and you have something in common, even though they have no idea who you are. Number 6, apart from all your credentials and your insurances and everything else are all up to date, you might want to add one other piece of documentation to that. If you know somebody of a significant status, an MP, a councillor, somebody of recognised authority, and they know you, ask them to give you, or they know of your family and you are well known to them over a long period of time and are pillars of the community, and the family gets involved in this or the church or whatever the case may be. It doesn't harm having a character reference amongst your paperwork. Number 7, and this is probably the most powerful of the options that I've given you. Simply be honest with them. Say, look, to be honest, I've entered this hobby because I love history. I love the thought of rescuing the odd coin that somebody's dropped, or a brooch, or a little piece of artifact that's been lost in the soil for many, many years, or hundreds or thousands of years. But to be honest with you, I never thought it was going to be so difficult to find somewhere to get permission to practice my hobby. Can you help? Would you help? So look, there's my top 7 tips. Look in the description, I'll list them all there for you as well. But in the end, it might just be the best way to be honest and say, look, can you help me? Not begging as such, but being open and frank with them, and all you want is just a little piece of land as a favour. Nothing else, no commitments, just a little piece of land to look on, and you'll even call them or let them know each time before you go. And this, of course, will establish a little bit of trust. You'll build slowly a relationship. You'll share with them some of the finds you've made, and after a short period of time you can ask them who they know that might also allow you to have a little piece of land. And if they won't do that, at least you can name drop this farmer who you now get on well with when you speak to other farmers. So I hope some information in there has been of use to you. I look forward to talking to a lot more of you in 2015, and I most sincerely wish you all, metal detectorist or otherwise, a very happy New Year.